them out of trouble, and then we'd all be on the same team.
Okay. And they would also, like some of the directors, we had some really big directors who done huge network shows, and they would take the job, and then they would get inundated with pressure from the network like they've never seen. I mean, these are guys who worked on the biggest shows there are, period. 10 times our budget, like 10 times our viewers, and they would come onto this show and they go, what happened? What have I signed up for? And so it was, Eureka was one of those shows. It was the hardest show that you'll ever love, but it was definitely the hardest show I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Every director I talked to said it was the hardest. It was just one of those things. It was very ambitious. Netflix was a small network, but it was still like it was a weird time because you got to remember this is before Dexter blew up and Green Black really brought back Showtime. This is before Mad Men at AMC. This is before Netflix and Amazon.
It was network. Yeah. Network was king. It was all about.
It was all network, and then and then with Battlestar Galactica, all of a sudden it was like sci-fi was a real network, except they didn't have the engine room yet, and so it was a really interesting time. And it was a really interesting thing to be a part of. And we learned so much because it was kind of bare bones. Niall and I were talking earlier today to someone. It was like a master class on the entire business, from contractual to how the studios worked, to how a writer's room worked, because it was almost we were just. Whereas we worked on other shows, and you just didn't even know. It was like it was the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. How we would just get scripts and we would show up and everything would run so perfectly. And then this was just this. It was kind of this chaotic, overwhelming project we were trying to deliver that we really, really, really loved. And
because we all really loved our characters.
We loved the characters. The characters were created.
We loved our cast. We loved everything.
And the world that was created. But it was, it was a different time. It was a very interesting time to be on that network.
Yeah, well, on other networks, they have so much more money that the networks would always say, sci-fi would always say, make it bigger. It's great, make it bigger, make it bigger. But we were never allowed to have any more money. So it was always the impossibility of shooting some of these ideas in 7 days with, what was the operating budget? Something like two.
Yeah, that was expensive. That was
really
wild.
Expensive. And it is a lot of money but it's impossible.
But for the ideas that they had.
Yeah. So the smoke and mirrors of it were amazing. Like, you'd hear the idea and you're like, what? That's not gonna work. Remember, I had to be underwater and we couldn't afford a tank. So Petra was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a little bit of water between two panes of glass and you act like you're underwater.
I was there when Colin was pitched this. It didn't go over well.
No, I said that was dumb, and then somebody stormed out of the room.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, that's dumb, and I was like, oh, I was in a wetsuit.
You were in a wetsuit. You had like swimming on and everything, and it came out great. He was right.
He was right. He was totally right.
Yeah, we had an amazing UPN who just knew how to manipulate things and just shoot on a shoestring budget, and it was he gets a big nod. Our Petrovic gets a huge nod for pulling the show off, because a lot of UPNs would have just folded.
They quit.
They quit.
You can't do it. But he never said no. He's like, we'll figure it out, and we did. It was such an efficient unit, and the crew too. The crew said they never worked on anything that was as hard as
and they stayed on, and we didn't have much crew turnover because they loved it, and
until Fringe.
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 Fox Money came to Vancouver.
And they stripped a lot of them.
Yeah, Fringe came on, and they worked on the same lot, and our crew was like, "You're paying how much?" So they took a lot.
Wait, did that happen? But that happened when they split the seasons and put you guys dark for 16 months or something. Yeah. So it was again. This was the powers that be sort of screwing that, because it was like there was just some sort of shenanigans went on, and the crew was like, all right. Yeah.
Speaking of shenanigans, I'll just jump in. Do you guys remember the Chilliwack early days?
Do I have one story I want to tell. Yes, now. Watch the end. Okay, I'm so messed up.
I have no idea what this is.
I know.
The first time we went to Chilliwack, I think it was the first time, was the episode Dr. Nobel. We went for 2 nights. The first night everybody was well.
Chilliwack is where we shawl our exterior seats.
Yes, sorry,
right?
so that was Eureka. Eureka was the
Build
town of
Eureka
Chilliwack.
over Chilliwack.
We
So
stayed
she-
in the rhombus.
Yeah. So we went on our first field trip, the whole crew, everybody, buses, and the first night everybody was somewhat well behaved, and we shot all day, and then the second night, it turned into like a bottom. And it was, I didn't have to shoot until later the next day, but if you watch the finale, the final scene of Dr. Nobel, Sally Richardson might be one of the most beautiful women on the planet, in the history of the planet. Tell me if she doesn't look just a tinge green. She does. Because she was so sick. And her hair is just a little messy.
She's really keeping it together, yeah.
Because there's something about the field trip. You know, we can work together 16 hours a day,
And
all of a
like,
sudden
we're
we're on a
leaving
field
school.
trip. Yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
Oh, it was, you and camera guys hanging off their cameras, like just sort of like, we'll get through today.
Yeah, when I walked to set, the director looked at me and goes, "Hey, Tenzin," who was the Steadicam operator, he goes, "Tenzin, your sake bomb buddy? Yeah, he hasn't spoken yet. He hasn't missed a shot. It's 2 in the afternoon, he hasn't said a word." He just said it.
I was like 15, I felt great that day.
Yeah.
I wasn't there yet.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was good times. Then we stopped going to Chilliwack for some reason.
For some reason, I can't figure out why.
Oh, my God.
So in 3 years, you're coming up on the 15-year anniversary of the premiere.
No way.
Yeah, it premiered in 2006. So we got 3 years, it'll be 15 years. So any chance of doing even like a 2-hour movie? Or
Oh, we'd love
it.
Yeah, well, we all love each other, so we would have no problem doing that.
So
Yeah.
who do we have to talk to?
Hey, you let me know.
I think Amazon at this point.
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, it would have to be
I
like
think Amazon, it'd have to be Amazon at this point, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, sci-fi is owned by Universal, NBC, so that there isn't a lot to untangle there. I don't. Maybe this is you have to be able to untangle these webs behind the scenes. Who owns what? Who owns the property? I know Andrew Cosby, the creator of the show, and I are still good friends. He just wrote he left the show and created Boom Comics, and then he just wrote the new Hellboy that's about to come out. And so I know that both he and Jamie, I'm sure, would be open to it. So and sci-fi is owned by NBC Universal, so I don't think there's any like rights issues there. So I think it'd be more just like who wants to put the money up and
Yeah, exactly.
And we were joking backstage that it'd be funny if Zoe was the sheriff and Stark and I are roommates in some cabin up in the woods. She comes to get information and we're just disagreeing the
Oh
whole
my
time.
dad, no. When are you gonna grow up,
like
Dad?
the old man in the balcony of the Muppets.
That's pretty much what you guys are already.
Yeah, pretty much.
You get them together, they're the old men from the Muppets. Look at their shirts.
As long as it is better, that's all I say. It's weather protection.
Not when you got Ed Quinn guns, right?
Exactly.
I don't know how many people are aware. Can you guys talk a little bit about the mad rush to get the finale put together?
Oh, yeah. The show, NBC Universal was bought by Comcast, so they decided they were going to go the reality television route. They said, this is your last season. And in so doing, the writers were desperately trying to wrap up all of the threads that they'd sort of set up. And they had to go to the network and said, we can't do it. We can't elegantly end the show. We were trying to bring it in a little faster than we wanted. Could we have an extra episode? And which is a lot to ask. You know, you're asking a network to give you another $2.5 million, cause creative
Just
reasons.
trust us, yeah.
And they don't hear that. They're like, just make it weird and end it. But they did. They gave us an extra episode, and that was incredibly appreciated. Yeah, like that.
What episode were we filming when we found out? Because we actually found out on a Friday that we were getting picked up.
Oh,
And then we found out on Monday that we were canceled.
You had a day to write the episode.
Yeah.
Like I got a phone call. I can't remember where I was, but I got a call. And they go, "We're canceled. We're doing one more episode. Will you come back for the finale?" And I'm like, "Yeah. When is it?" And I go, "It's like tomorrow. We're writing it right now." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
It was they told Jamie yes on a Friday, and they said, but we need the script Monday. So he wrote it over the weekend. which is really
Which
fast.
is a lot to
To
write.
turn around a script. Although they were no strangers to that. You remember Bonneville's episode?
We shot blind.
Yeah.
We showed up, was it 4 days? I think it was 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days,
We came in the morning and we would get our 10 or 11 pages that we were going to shoot, having no idea what happened earlier on in the script. I'm seeing page 43 and I'm like, okay, but what did Zane do before this? So don't know yet.
Yeah.
Really, so I have no
Was it a
frame
good
of
day or was it a
reference.
bad day?
It was, and I remember every department didn't know what to do because you'd get the pages in the morning and you'd say, okay, full cast, full crew, Boundary Bay. We don't know what we're shooting. We don't know the scenes, but we'll sort it out when we get there.
And you guys know the dialogue that we delivered in Eureka. We were learning this the morning of,
Yeah.
and then going and filming.
I remember the props department had to set up in a corridor a bunch of explosives that would go down, and Shemgo was like, "There's a Home Depot 20 minutes from here. I can get some Christmas lights. I can get some lanterns, and a bunch of spray paint." And he came back and put the whole thing together. We're shaking our heads like this is. But what we did is we shot the C plot first, right? Because it doesn't need to hold together as well. Then the B plot, and then by the time we had no idea how it was all going to piece together. We needed the A plot. They're like, tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow we're going to get you what the episode is. It was neat to find out what it was.
And Eric Bonneville, by the way, is one of the biggest working directors in television. He shoots great pilots. He's won an Emmy. I mean, you have a director who is used to working on shows like Lost and CSI, and all of a sudden he's like, so I have no script. I have nowhere to prep.
Welcome to Eureka!
I have a location that I can stand and just wait for pages from this guy. And that, I said, it really is. I mean, I don't know if I won't speak for you guys, but it was the hardest show I've ever been a part of. But I've never seen people work harder to do something they love. That's why
You learn a lot, that's
you
for
learn a lot, and
sure.
then also having people just love the show. It means so much to them, and it's a part of all of our history that it really means a lot.
And sometimes we'd shoot a scene, and then the writers would come running in like, "We've got changes!" And I was like, we shot it.
Oh no, that happened a few times in which we would be up. I remember the PAs would have this look where we'd be on set shooting a scene in the lab, and the PAs would come in and they'd have all these pages. They'd be handing out the pages, and they'd have this sort of look like. And you'd look at it and you go, "Wait a minute, hey, we shot this yesterday." They're like, "We're going to reshoot this?" No. So what is this exercise of futility we're doing right now? We're just doing our jobs. Yesterday's work has been rewritten. That's not going to be reshot.
Alright, yeah.
Not counterproductive.
It sounds like we're complaining. We're not. It was a very good time.
I wouldn't change.
It was
I would not change
wild
the theme.
cards all around.
Yeah, it was just the wild, wild west. It was crazy.
Yeah.
2 what? 2 beers.
You've
Awesome.
Yeah, you're awesome. 2 more questions or 2 more minutes?
2 more minutes.
Uh,
One more
All
question.
right, hold on. Anyone else have a question?
Back
Sure,
over there.
sure. Sorry.
So, Eureka, Warehouse 13, and Alpha's all existing in the same universe. Did you guys ever hear talks about, because just watching Warehouse and Eureka, it felt like it was all leading to something a bit bigger, like maybe a sci-fi version of a movie or something?
Well,
Was there ever any talks of that?
That's not bigger.
All that was coming together, come on.
Yeah,
I will say that, the rumor is, and you can take this as a rumor, you can take this as, gossip or whatever, but the rumor is that the idea for Warehouse 13 came from the Eureka's writer room. That was an idea that they had. It was going to be a parallel story. How the show got made, by whom, is a whole, not, above my pay grade, I don't know.
But then some of us played different characters on Warehouse 13 than our characters on Eureka.
Yeah.
So.
But it all, sci-fi was trying to find its way in a weird way, in which Battlestar Galactica was such a huge critical hit, but it didn't do the kind of numbers that networks like. And so they were trying to find, they wanted Eureka was the show they wanted to play on airplanes, and it did. And then they wanted to sort of try and do different, copies of that, or stay in that same vein, which weirdly was probably a big mistake. I think they probably should have kept this show as the outlier, stayed with their bread and butter of the Battlestars and the the Stargates, and done the spaceships and aliens and stuff that the core fans liked, and had this as their outlier, and But it was, they went to that, they went to Alphas, and
Well, we're sure glad they did it.
yeah.
So, just thank you so much to the panel for making this first annual IGC conference great. And, you know, these guys are gonna be back in the vendor area, so if you want, you know, signed pictures or anything like that, you know, please make your way back there. They're there to talk, and thank you very much again.
Yeah.